You're listening to the Challenge Takes podcast, the only podcast that could carry Derrick to a final. Hello and welcome to the Challenge Takes podcast, the hottest challenge takes on the internet. I'm Joe Puglisi, accompanied by Brian Smith.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You just had to blow my cover like that.
Dude,
Can you even let me do the intro? Oh, wait, you do it every week.
I do
Why
it
am I
every
jumping
time.
in? You do it every time.
Every single time. So there's no, I didn't do anything wrong here. I was on you jumping in there.
I was going to say the opening is obvious sarcasm because nothing can carry Derrick to a final, not even this podcast.
No, nothing can at all. I'm blowing smoke up my own ass here. We couldn't do it if we tried. But we are here after missing 1 week.
Yep.
Which means one episode. So here we are on a double whammy. Got a double barrel action here. Except it's really just like 1 1/4 action because, man, last week's episode was a total snoozer.
So the big takeaways from last week are...
First off, what episode is that? Episode 5?
Episode 5. This was episode 6. Brittany and Brad's situation. Jose letting Brad know some information that he feels that Brittany is using Chuck to fill the void, or using Brad to fill the void that he lost with Chuck, which is just making him more angry and suspicious, which leads to the cliffhanger at the end of the episode. Oh my
god. That has to be one of the least interesting cliffhangers in like challenge history. At least of the last like few seasons where they really care about like cliffhanging.
What about the episode they cliffhanged on whether or not Victor would be voted into elimination?
That's still an elimination cliffhanger. Yeah. This was a FaceTime call. We got cliffhanged on a FaceTime.
Since when can you FaceTime in a challenge house?
Whenever production deems it worth ratings.
Yeah. So the challenge, they had a challenge, finally an actual challenge, although it was a purge situation, so not even really a winning or a losing team and a winning team, but not in the conventional way. CT and Veronica end up getting last, much to the dismay of a very angry CT. And they're going straight to the redemption house. Brad and Kyle win, which leads to them getting an advantage, air quotes. I'll mention that again later. But yeah, not too much to go from this challenge. Brad and Kyle and Tony Bananas were the only teams that finished that. So challenges have been pretty hard so far, I feel like.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, the one this week, only a couple teams finished it. This one,
I think 3.
Yeah, only 3. Only 2 did this one, so some pretty hard challenges. And CT and Veronica have a bit of a falling out. Not a falling out. They had already fallen out by that point, but
yeah, they're gone.
Reached a breaking point.
Yeah,
in the redemption house, CT decides it's a good idea to throw chairs and scream in his Boston accent with a bunch of food in his mouth.
Did I miss that part? I don't remember him throwing chairs.
He threw a chair. He kicked the chair after.
Okay.
Here's my take on that situation. I can understand CT being angry with her. However, throwing a temper tantrum like that doesn't help anybody. And you have to be understanding enough to know that, like, Veronica isn't the best competitor. I guess he understands that part, but he's mad at her for not trying. I don't think she didn't. It wasn't due to a lack of effort.
I'm actually on CT's side here. Like,
I just don't see how there's nothing good comes out of yelling at your partner the way he did after that.
Well, that is true, but sometimes it's just got to give. And he tries so hard. He very much clearly cares about this game, and he's very frustrated.
Yeah,
he's extremely frustrated that his teammate not only is underperforming, which is one thing, but that they're not underperforming for lack of skill. They're underperforming because they don't give a shit. And I believe that she, like, you know, she's saying that she does care and that she, but she doesn't. I don't believe any of that bull crap. She doesn't care. She doesn't give a shit. She's just here for the paycheck, and that's it. She's just here to do whatever. She's not giving 100%. She's not even giving 75%. She's giving like a good 55%.
Well, I don't think she's not trying in the chat. Like, she didn't mess that challenge up because she didn't try. She just was short, and it was a long leap, and she couldn't do it.
Well, I'm sure she tried in the moment. I'm sure she pushed awfully hard off that mat to try to jump to that rope. Yeah, but like, it's not there. She's not even trying to exercise with him or anything. Like, she doesn't care.
I told you about the BS narrative that they tried to tell there in the beginning, where they were in their outfits from the team promo. So obviously,
Yeah, well, it doesn't. The fact still remains that it's been a problem since day one, is what that shows to someone like me and you who can decipher that. Like, oh, they're in the attire that they took the group photos in. Like that means that since the first day they walked in the house, she has been an issue about working out or doing anything.
Yeah.
And
but I mean,
I find that, like, I agree with him that it's incredibly frustrating. And someone like Chris, this is how.
Chris,
oh my,
Chris.
Sorry.
You're not tight with him like that. Come on now.
Me and him are real close buds. Every time I go up to Boston, me and him.
Did you
chill
actually
for a
just
bit.
do that on accident?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I just called him Chris by accident.
We haven't even been watching old seasons where they actually do call him Chris sometimes.
No, we haven't even gotten like that deep.
I know.
Like every once, very, very rarely on these older seasons when we would watch, I would hear a Chris drop. It's like a couple times a season. So I'm in that territory where I'm hearing a couple times a season, but not like. Is there a point where it's like half the time they're calling?
No,
him Chris?
it never is. It's just like it's something that had popped up every once in a while, mostly on older seasons.
When was the last time he got called Chris?
I think Laurel called him Chris once on. I know Kenny's called him Chris.
So you're saying
DM called him Chris plenty of times.
So, but you're saying that he hasn't been called Chris in like 5 seasons?
Not like. I think
you don't think there's been a rogue Chris?
I think Laurel said like, "Come on, Chris" or something during a challenge on
Invasion.
On Invasion, yeah.
What about Camilla? Did she say it on Dirty 30?
Camilla might have slipped it in there every once in a while.
I think she did on 30.
Who have known him longest are the ones who say it.
Yeah.
Whether even if you get along with him or not.
Now that was a real tangent, and I don't even remember our talking point.
It was the CT and Veronica situation. You're on CT side. I'm more on, not necessarily on Veronica's side, but just on the side of like CT.
Compassion.
CT should chill a little bit.
Right.
And Veronica,
I'm on the let it rage side.
Guess what though? Veronica does have more wins in the challenge than CT does.
Sure does.
And it's a little bit harder for a woman who's 40 years old at that point to really hold up as well as like CT doesn't put any effort.
I think my point is that she's not holding at all though.
But she was fine 2 seasons ago. It wasn't like she's been horrible this whole run. She was a pretty powerful player, I thought, on Dirty 30.
I think that's because she cared a little bit. It was her first season back in like 10 years, and now she doesn't care at all, I don't think.
She had to care. Her partner was CT.
I honestly believe that this is her last season.
All right, that's fair.
I don't think she's coming back.
And that's not necessarily a hot take either.
No.
Because this very easily could be the case.
Because I think it was more supposed to be a one-off, and she got roped into the fact that it's a trilogy.
The trilogy didn't come till after. She just probably did better than she thought on Dirty 30. So she's like, I'll come back for Vendettas. And then she didn't get eliminated from that one either. She broke her finger.
Mm-hmm.
So she came out for this one because they wanted to make a team. I guess you could bring her back though if it's for a team thing. If they need like a specific theme and they need a.
What I can say though is with an old vet, like I think her time's done, but I think especially with all the talk of Brad being broke, Brad's here to stay.
Yeah, Brad is here. Brad and Shane are going to be on for the long haul. Both of them, I think.
I mean, shit. What was Shane's?
I don't think
first
Shane's
season?
doing anything either.
What was Shane's? Shane was on. Was he on before CT?
Shane was on. Yeah, he was before CT.
CT and Brad was on Shane's first season, right?
No, Brad was a little bit after CT. It was like a season or two after CT.
Wow.
Yeah, but Shane was really young. He was like in his teen. He was like 20 when he did his first one.
Right. How old is he now? Like 36 or so?
Yeah, 36. He's like a year older than Bananas.
All right. Good to know.
Yeah. So
Queen V though, wasn't she on like season 2 or season 3?
Yeah, her Road Rule season was in 1999. So.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying her challenge debut, second season, right?
Yeah.
All Stars or whatever. Isn't All Stars the first season?
Road Rules, All Stars was the first one, and I think the second one was Real World versus Road Rules or something like that.
Yeah. All right.
And Road Rules always won because Road Rules they actually compete on the show. Real World they don't. So Road Rules always had the better competitors for that reason.
Rip in peace. Rest in spaghetti. Never forgetty.
So that can bring us a good segue to where we start this episode off.
Episode 6?
Yeah. CT and his chart.
Yeah, because he's really giving a shit.
Yeah, well, what else are you gonna do there?
Yeah, he's really finding time.
That's what I would do
Because
too.
honestly, phones are still not allowed, and now you're in the redemption house with this girl you can't stand, and then Paulie and Natalie, like these younger, newer pairs. One's a rookie and one's in their second year, and you've been here for years.
But Paulie totally looks up to him.
Oh yeah, he's like little
He
mini
idolizes
CT.
him. Yeah.
He's totally mini
Oh, he
CT.
is mini CT.
He absolutely is. Oh, 100%. And you could see it like in their interaction. I don't know if it was in episode 5 or anything. Just like when he was having his freak out and like he was watching CT, like he just had like this big boy grin on.
Yeah.
Like he just loves that guy.
I will say it was fun, even though I disagreed with his behavior. It was fun to watch him. A sprinkle of the old CT was in there for a second.
Yeah, just a tad.
Yeah,
and I think that's why Paulie is so hyped, because he's seeing his boy.
But it is great strategy to map out these alliances. Although chances of getting back in the game are slim for them. Like I don't think anyone's gonna pick to go against them in that double cross.
No, exactly. If they don't pull, they're out.
Yeah,
they don't pull the cross
unless a team is like salty and like oh, we're not gonna pick Paulie and Natalie. Well, there's like there might be 2 or 3 other choices still.
That could be a salty maneuver, but yeah, I think there's gonna be. It's not like it's just gonna be 3 teams competing.
Well, the thing is like you might pick them to save because like you don't go home if you lose. So you might, if it's someone who's close enough with CT and Veronica, where they can risk themselves losing to save them. Because because you're not you're eliminating them if you don't pick them.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting wrinkle. But they map out this chart of all the alliances, which was a good idea.
CT maps it out.
CT did it.
And he asked Veronica, like, he didn't ask where is she going to help, but she came down and then she just went right back upstairs.
With the wine.
Right back upstairs with the wine. And he was just like, so where you going? She's like, I'm going to go rest.
Queen V in her queen bed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, true. I was thinking, like, Queen V in the queen bed, too. Of course, she just walks right in and takes the queen bed.
It's pretty funny. They ended last week with the cliffhanger, but then they started with this.
Yeah. Chuck was the had the queen bed before then.
Yeah.
He
passed out that one night.
Yeah.
So they go back and Brittany denies all of the allegations against Brad. Oh, the best part though is Brittany does this thing where she's so like upbeat and positive and like happy, and then the moment like something is wrong, she just like
Just flips a switch.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened in this. Like she was like all excited to see him, like I miss you, oh my god. And then,
her emotion level was like 1,000.
And then Brad questioned her on something, and immediately she
just
goes into
like I got a question, and it's
immediately into a bitch face.
Yep.
Like that's what it was.
Yeah.
And she denies all the whole situation, and then
not like there was much to deny.
Yeah,
nothing that was aired. Like nothing happened.
She did she absolutely did tell the truth. She wasn't hooking up with him, and she was only walking around with her underwear. Whether Brad thinks that's a little over the line,
it's up for him to determine. And it sounds like he doesn't find that.
I mean, she was jumping in pools naked last season. If we're being frank, although maybe it wasn't as serious yet with them. To where now they've been together for this long, and he's now
and she's clearly chilled. Maybe he asked her off season.
Yeah,
like did you just watch what I watched on TV as they're sitting there coupling on the couch? And he's just like, could you not do that next season, please? I don't need everyone gawking at my girl.
And then we get Brad basically telling the entire house, like, as they're gathering in front of him, like he's giving a motivational speech.
Yeah. And Kyle was rallying people over about it.
Yep, telling about the situation. And Kyle saying right to the camera's face, Paulie is a piece of shit for this.
Yep. Those guys are broing down so unbelievably hard.
Most of the teams are broing down.
They are.
Like, none of them are really fighting except for, like, the bad ones.
Well,
like, the good teams are very cohesive right now.
Marie and Cara, they
mostly got along this episode.
Past episode, they're kind of broing down a little.
Well, it happened in the last episode. I don't know if you caught it, but they show them, like, hugging and, like, being all happy with each other at the club scene. Granted, they were probably drunk.
And Shane and Nelson... I did not catch that, by the way. Shane and Nelson, I think there was an interview where Nelson's like, oh, Shane's got to stop talking. It pisses me off. But they're totally broing down. Fuck that shit. Get out of here.
Like, just because people smile with you, they're not always your friend, which is actually good advice that Nelson does need to take.
Yeah.
Because he gets easily manipulated.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I thought Kaylee was on my side. Or Natalie.
Well, we'll get to that next, because next is this. The henhouse scene, which was released in a preview earlier, but this was hilarious. Sylvia explaining how she's got all the hens in her room,
Mm-hmm.
and the roosters came out to play. So the poor girl's sleeping by herself while 3 other couples are hooking up in the same bed. Not in the same bed, same bedroom.
Same bedroom, and all 3 of them were the neighboring beds. Like, they're all next to each other.
Angela was in that room, too. She could have brought bananas in there with her.
Was she sleeping in there?
No, she wasn't there. It was only
She was
Sylvia.
probably with
It was
bananas.
literally just Sylvia and the three pairs. Poor girl.
That's so funny.
No, I'm not. I don't feel sorry for her that she's not getting D because I know she has a boyfriend, so good for her for actually being one of the few people on the show that can stay faithful on this challenge. I do feel bad for.
Vance did it for like 5 years.
No, he didn't. He was
Oh, right.
secretly hooking up with Camilla and Nani all the time.
Oh right, oops. Forgot about I forgot about Nani, and
You
I
hooked up with Nani
remembered
in
Camilla,
Exiles.
but I thought Camilla was before.
Camilla was on X's one. He was. hooking up with her.
Wouldn't he be like freshly in the relationship then?
Yeah, probably. I don't know what his real life situation is, but he definitely cheated on her numerous times,
Bad banana.
and they covered it up.
Bad John.
Yeah. So we've got Amanda
John,
and Joss. We've
you
got
got a
Nelson and
problem.
Kaylee. We've got Kyle and Faith all fucking right next to each other. The best line was Kyle. There's a few great lines. Kyle saying, he's like, "What, are we all fucking here?" And then Nelson goes, "Kyle, is that you?"
That's the best line. Kyle, is that you? How is it not Kyle?
You could tell the British accent. Well, there were the 2 British boys and the British girl. So
Kyle,
Britt
is
was
that you?
involved in all 3 of these.
Yep.
And then Amanda be getting straight to the point with Joss.
Yeah.
Show me your dick.
they all got down, and then they pulled a total SpongeBob on them. 2 minutes later.
That's such savage editing.
Yeah.
We don't know if it was actually 2 minutes.
I'm sure it wasn't.
The only girl who said it was quick was Kaylee.
Amanda.
No, Kaylee.
Oh yeah, Kaylee.
The
yeah.
other girls didn't speak on it, but we only saw them jump out of bed. We don't know if that was actually 2 minutes later.
It could have been 15.
Although it
could
is
have
funny,
been 30.
all
Like,
3 of them jump out of the bed basically the exact same way, naked and covering their
just
junk
going.
with their hand, while there's a blur on their ass.
Like, man, just grab your clothes and go.
This is normally a scene you would see in like the 2nd episode of a season. We're on episode 6 now.
Yeah, true. Like, usually all that stuff goes down. Think about was it Dirty 30. Like, episode 2 was like a hookup like crazy episode, mostly via Corey, but it was like just a total hookup episode.
The Bloodlines first episode had like 4 hookups.
Yeah, it was that's how it all works. Yeah. This one was a slow burn because they all like built up all the relationships in 1 and 2, and then they like paid off in these next few episodes.
So next we get a conversation between Zach and Tori, 2 people that I haven't seen communicating at all so far in this, but I'm surprised when I remembered that this happened later on, I'm surprised that it didn't end up mattering for anything. But Zach and Tori basically made I don't know if they made an alliance, but they made an agreement that they wouldn't burn their votes on each other, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That they have some sort of level of trust there. Zach, it's pretty funny though, because Zach was trying to compare his partnership with Tori's partnership, and then he realized that he has it way better than her still. He was going to say, Derrick is just awful at everything. And then Amanda is, well, she's great at some things, but she's short. You had
to take it back.
Yeah. He wanted to say something bad. So proud of you, Zach, for biting your tongue there.
Well, he couldn't,
let's be honest, those 2 are totally broing down too. Even no matter what either of them wants to try to say in their confessionals. Yeah,
no, they are. Because they were talking about like in the challenge that they're like completely in sync.
Yeah. Zach
so
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
When we get to the challenge, we have this game of Never Have I Ever, where
it was just a plot.
It was
line
a plot.
By Shane.
It was a ploy to get Faith to admit that she fucked Kyle.
Yep.
And then Cara being all mopey in her bed downstairs. I will say Cara came off much better in this episode than she has in.
This is the most bearable Cara episode in 5 years.
But that was when it was more so when she was being challenged in the game. Mm-hmm. This, she's still just being kind of whiny. And Faith, I love Faith. She handles herself so well in these situations. Mm-hmm. and Cara tries to pull the rookie card on her, and she's like, "Nope, don't pull that card because I am a vet, and I'm the only vet in this house because I served in the military." Did you miss that part?
I did completely.
Oh, you were looking at your phone. She does her. Once the moment Kyle said rookie, they pause it and they cut to Faith, and she does her occur. to stop everything. He said, "Don't say that because I'm the only true vet in this house." And then they play like this. They like music in the background, like yeah, they did that.
I got my song wrong. I just started doing the British military theme song.
But honestly,
the national anthem. Sorry.
Faith handled this situation really well. I thought, like, she didn't try to belittle Cara at all. She understood her. They both tried to claim they understood about the situation, but if Cara actually did, then she wouldn't be getting this upset. But I mean, it works both ways between Cara and Kyle. I feel like we're putting too much up. We'll get to that later too, but they both clearly are not acting great about the situation, and that they're getting upset about the other person's flirtations.
Yeah. No,
they could just be together, like if they actually like each other,
Yeah, this is gonna be one of those things.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like it's gonna get annoying. Right now, it's fine because we really like Kyle, but like it's gonna get annoying 3 seasons from now. Mm-hmm. It's just gonna be unbearable.
Yeah. So we got the last shot of the redemption house, which was nice. We only got This is the perfect amount of redemption house. You don't need any more than this. They show them the surveillance room where they show all these hookups. I was hoping they would show them the hookup with all 3 of the people, but they show Bananas and Angela getting cozy, as well as showing Kyle and Faith.
Kyle and Faith, yeah.
Which automatically, like, CT gets it. He's like, that must mean that Faith and Angela are a power team in the game because they're got Bananas and Kyle now on their side.
Figured that shit out quick.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. These 2 rookie girls have come in here and they probably be targeted anyway as rookies, but they're targeted because they're actually like a well-connected potential power team in the game.
Yeah, I mean and
it's 2 rookie girls.
Bananas, the king, and then Kyle, who's been, of course, it's only his second year, but he is the number 2 in the house.
He really is.
So they got right into the top 2, and they've shown that they work really well together, and they keep doing their job just fine in challenges. They're good.
They're like best friends, it seems like.
Yeah, they got it on lock.
Yeah. What else? Oh, Natalie again, trying to be all upset about Bananas and Angela, like she actually cares.
I think I like that team of Angela and Faith more than I singularly like Pauly, because Natalie brings that team down. Like if I had to power rank my favorite teams, like Angela and Faith are gonna be over that, but. Which obviously, like, because I can't stand Natalie. Like, you would think that my rankings would be like Natalie all the way at the bottom, but I like Pauly so much right now that I think he's like in my top. They're in like my top 5 favorite teams.
What did Pauly say this episode that made? Because I know you made a comment while we were watching about how I was like, oh, I love this man. He said something.
I can't remember. I did say something about what happened in these scenes.
They were just in the surveillance room going over the.
I don't think it was that scene. It might have been from episode 5.
It could have been, yeah.
When he was going off about something. Yeah, he was going off about something while CT was also going off. There was like another dynamic happening.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was from an interview or what's the word?
I just don't remember what he said. But
I don't either. But yeah, it was in a confessional.
He said something that piqued your interest.
There was a moment that I was. That my interest was piqued by my boy Pauly, who is probably my single favorite person on the season right now.
That happened fast. You were shitting all over him in the 3rd episode.
I know. He's been like episode 4 just changed everything. That guy I back Pauly all the way. I love this dude now.
Right, so finally we get to the challenge, and only the second challenge that's like a full thing and has everything in it. Or has the full components of a challenge where the winning team is actually safe and gets a power in the game. Mm-hmm. It's called Off the Rails. A very unique and fun challenge, it looks like.
Yeah, but it's also one of those classic situations where they just spend a bunch of money that they don't have to. Because like being on the train didn't matter.
The fact that the train was moving?
Yeah, it totally didn't matter.
It kind of does for the second part. It does. No, it does.
But it's on a straight rail. I didn't feel like the wires were wiggling because of the train. I felt like the wires were wiggling because everyone was...
the wind. You have to factor in the wind.
Well, shouldn't the train be like aerodynamically cutting the wind and pushing it off to the side?
I don't know science.
So, I just don't think that it played a huge factor.
Listen, it was a fun visual.
Honestly, anytime they put them on like a moving vehicle, like a lot of the times it doesn't even, to my opinion, like make a huge difference. It like You could make, for example, when they would do like car hops,
Yeah.
you could make like an obstacle course. You know,
Yeah.
you could
Yeah,
just
you're right.
do it. But like they gotta, but you know, they just make you could put like an obstacle that's like on some sort of gyration machine that makes it move.
Mhm.
Then you have to jump onto this like wiggling object. It saved them a lot of money, but you know, it's all about visuals, and that's what they've been about for like the past like 4 seasons. You know, come on, why were they scaling down that like wall in Vendettas, that like massive town?
Yeah, well, they
like,
definitely
that's all
do
about
things-
visuals.
They definitely play up. Yeah.
Like, well, let's do an obstacle course. Well, shit, we got to make it look good, so why don't we make them jumping from trucks? Like, you know, it's not... And this one, to me, was a prime example of it, like, barely meaning anything. Like...
Who cares, though? It was fun to watch.
Like, it was I never
Who
even
cares if they're
saw the
wasting
train.
money?
I never even saw the train. Like, I just watched an obstacle
I
course.
saw more when TJ was standing and telling teams to go and blowing his horn.
Like, it's like they never even used, like, the establishing shot of the train. Like, it was always on the people. They never had, like, you know, like, oh, it's the next people are up, and they, like, show the train rolling in or something, or backing up, getting ready. It was just, like, it was just an obstacle course, and it so happened to be located on a train. To me, that's, I don't know, maybe I'm talking out my ass a little bit, but it's just, like, sometimes I feel that way when they do this stuff.
Well, it was a pretty difficult challenge. As these 2 beams, one of them is like more of a thicker beam that you have to walk across, and then the other one's basically 2 tight ropes. Where you have
The beam was
each other.
triangular shaped. It was traced like just like a triangle. So there was 2 bent sides, and it came to a point, and you had to cross it that way. Some challengers were deciding to choose each side of it and like kind of pull on each other, and others were choosing to put 1 foot on each side and scoot back and forth, or backward, 1 backwards and 1 forwards. And then there was just a tightrope, straight up. That's all it was.
So Brad and Kyle are announced to where their advantage from the last challenge, which I honestly should have expected this shit. Their big advantage was they get to pick 1 team to have will get rid of one of their lifelines on the second part of the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So it does end up screwing over Marie and Cara, but
it did, but it was very
but
small.
Marie and Cara were not going to win this challenge, is the point, and they basically just chose to throw it on them just because they're petty.
Yep.
Because Kyle is petty. That's the only reason I can think of.
I think it's honestly no. I don't think it's because he's petty. I think it's a very obvious reason. He can throw it on Cara and he doesn't piss anybody else off because she's already gonna understand why he chose her.
I guess.
Like it's just a safe. It's literally a safe burn. It's someone that already doesn't like him.
Yeah.
Or like already like nobody sees that coming. That's not a surprise to anybody. If he burned it on Shane and Nelson, there would have been a huge fit thrown.
I think you're right. That's a good point, actually.
That's why he chose them, because it wouldn't stir up anything.
My issue was that this
it would feel good. It would feel great maybe to watch them fall, and it wouldn't stir up anything. It's a perfect decision.
Yeah, you're right. You sold me.
Yeah.
I just have a problem with. So my main issue is that this advantage is really shitty for winning an entire challenge.
Oh yeah, it's absolute crap.
Yeah, and then they didn't even get to use it like to help themselves. Like it's called an advantage, not a disadvantage.
No, it is. Yeah, it wasn't an advantage at all.
Yeah, the advantage. You know what it should have been is they give them an extra rope to help themselves.
There you go. That's
or
a good idea.
Give them like if they finish it, give them like 10 seconds off their time or something like that. Right. That's an advantage. Mm-hmm. This is just giving another team a disadvantage.
No, yeah, I completely agree with that. I wasn't paying attention to the wording they were using for the reward.
Mm-hmm. It's basically like a grenade from last season is all this was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was a bad grenade, too.
Well, it wasn't a bad grenade in the sense, like, if it was a grenade, it would have been fine, and because it actually caused the team to mess up.
It was like the week 2 grenades.
Yeah.
That were like just,
well,
there were just
some
little
crappy
smoke bombs.
Well, there were some crappy ones last season, like the lube, that didn't change anything.
The lube.
Yeah.
My lube car up.
I'm a luber up.
And then the poorly applied lube, like,
yeah,
barely lubed it up.
Yeah, the cars were lubed anyway. It didn't matter.
That was so much bullshit. Not to mention that was the worst challenge of all time.
The car crasher challenge.
The worst challenge ever.
When we nearly lost to Leroy.
They almost killed a competitor.
Yeah.
And like 80% of the cast took like a devastating fall.
They all
like a completely
I think 5
unsafe
people
fall.
had to go to the hospital after that.
Is it with like an off-air
Like
thing?
Bananas,
Like was listed?
I think Bananas, Devin, Kyle, and Leroy all went to the hospital.
Had to be checked.
Yeah, Bananas got like a hip pointer.
That's so. God, I remember I had a huge freak out about that on the episode that we reviewed that.
Yeah.
And it still makes me angry because I forgot when I was reviewing this, like when we were just saying, it took me a couple seconds to remember that they were like 1,000,000 feet above the water too. They weren't like 10, 20 feet. They were just like incredibly high above the water. So it was literally like hitting cement when they fell. Like it's absolute bullshit. Like that was terrible. And yeah, the lubed cars, come on. You lubed the cars on top of pouring water on the cars. That was unbelievable.
And they had to refilm it. They had to refilm it because they broke the glass.
Didn't they have to go on another day?
Yeah, they had to come back the next day and redo it.
Oh my god. It's the worst challenge ever.
Yeah.
Seriously ever. No doubt.
And this is where I actually liked Cara. For once, finally showing some confidence and fire in herself. Just not take any shit. He's like, fine, if that's the way he wants to play, then I'm gonna play. And she has the right to be legit mad at him because he could have picked any team and he picked her. So it's not like petty. She's not being entitled. She actually has the right.
Targeted.
She's being targeted. She has the right to be incredibly pissed off at him. I would too.
Yes, she does.
Yeah. So I liked her hair and her little rants that she was going on about it, and refusing to smile to the camera while Marie was like, "Come on, it's okay, just be happy."
It's opposite. It's opposite day right there. Usually it'd be like Marie all pissed off and Cara trying to be like silly on the camera. She also mentioned something a little later after this challenge, I believe, when she was talking to, I think it was Kyle. And she's talking about like she has people that look up to her and she's trying to be strong.
Yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit. People that try to look up to you. It's MTV, for Christ's sake.
I was wondering about that. I was like,
this is why people can't take this girl seriously.
I was like, wait, you got 10-year-olds watching this show?
You're on MTV and you're just talking about looking up to old...
Got little girls looking up to her.
Little girls looking up to you while you talk about how you jacked up power cable to your nipples.
She did do that.
Yeah. I'm surprised you remembered that.
I didn't until you said it. It all came flooding back. Wasn't that from the challenge that never happened?
Yeah, it was the
electrocution fake challenge. Also, like that's up there on the top savage moves by TJ.
All right, you guys are someone's gonna die tonight. You guys are gonna get fried. Nope, just kidding.
Just kidding.
Just go back to the house.
What an asshole. Made people pack their bags for nothing.
Yeah, they all came out. It was Trishelle's fault for quitting on Sarah.
Damn it, Trishelle.
So the first heat was did they get control of the order too? Brad and Kyle?
If they did, it wasn't aired.
Because I feel like that is absolutely something they should have gotten. Because
I hope they did.
The order seems like they made it.
I mean, wasn't sent for who was sent first?
Bananas, Tony, Marie, and Cara.
Yeah, exactly that. It seems like
because they have done it before where they don't tell you that they made the order when they actually did.
Mm-hmm. I think that was within their right. I would imagine that they got it, considering their only thing they got was a removal of a rope.
Yeah, they definitely should have got the order.
Removal of one of 8 ropes in the game.
Yep, nice.
Sick.
But it does work out for them because Marie and Cara Wall, impressively making it to the first one as a 2-girl team, end up falling on the second one, and they even said that it was because they didn't have a rope to reach.
Because honestly, I was watching how these work. Everyone needed that first rope before they would get like their groove going on the first set and then the second set. Any team that completed both or any team that completed any of them, they needed that first one. Everyone was like hanging all their weight on that before they would get it going, and then they would start breathing. That one was crucial. If they could use that, they could have got set up and then go across, because that's the hardest part when you get on and off of like a tightrope, because that's where the tension is starting to like raise at a like an angle, because it's going back to where the rope is being held. So you're stepping down onto the rope there. That is absolutely the hardest part. So they needed it the most there, and I do believe that they would have finished. I honestly think they would have finished. I really do. They were looking really solid. And
Tony Bananas do end up finishing. And they even said it was super hard. That Tony said the degree of difficulty was this. Tony basically said it was one of the hardest challenges he had done.
Mm-hmm. And they also said that they're like, man, that was really hard. I can't believe that Cara and Marie got their lifeline taken away. That's absolutely why they fell.
Yeah.
That because the lifelines were so necessary.
So then we kind of get a speed run here because we next get Tori and Derrick and Jose and Devon, both of which don't even make it to the first.
No, but we gotta just talk about
Derrick again.
Derrick. It's gotta be talked about.
I feel like at some point, I know it's. I mean, I don't know who's. This one was like both of them. So, but Tori needs to stop letting this man lead her.
She really does. She does.
She's being too unselfish.
Like, remember in the episode before, she let Derrick go first on the ropes. She should have absolutely went first.
And
on
in the
ropes.
first challenge, she let Derrick be the guy to swing, and he fucked that up.
She keeps giving him opportunities. Like she said it in one of these 2 episodes confessionals, like that. You get further every time, and and you keep getting better. So she's obviously like giving him.
You keep getting
shots.
better. You go from like the 11th best player to like the 9th best player. Congratulations.
It's not even true. He's literally the worst player on the season. All the girls are
So
better than him.
You think Jose is better than him too?
Yes.
Jose and Devon do make it slightly further than them, I believe, before they fall.
They are absolutely better than him. The only person that's worse than Derrick on this season is Veronica. 100%.
You sure about that even?
Yes, I am sure. I had to think right there, but yes, I'm sure.
To be honest, though, this is a very... As much as people want to crap on these girls for, they're only there for the check, they only want to start drama, they're very solid, all these girls.
You mean just all the girls in general in the
just
season?
all even the ones that we thought were going to be weak, like Faith and Angela have done fine.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda and Sylvia are good. Marie was good, solid in this one. She's shown actually, she really hasn't shown flashes in the past, but I mean, she has a good partner, so she should be more motivated this time around. Kaylee is a wild card. Kaylee's the one that still has something to prove. Cam is good. Tori is good. Now, Kaylee won the elimination.
Now let me backtrack a little bit. Is Kaylee better than Derrick?
Well, Kaylee was able to follow directions and win an elimination. So
she did win an elimination. Yeah. She's better than Derrick.
Yep.
She's 100% better than Derrick. Classic. Did Derrick dig or did Tori dig in episode 1?
Tori.
Derrick's such a cook. I love it. I love it.
I know you said it. I don't want them to go home anytime soon because it's just so funny to watch them lose every time. That's why the rules of this season are great because there's no last place in the challenge.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So like you can just continually fail and skate through. But yeah, well, they do have purges to balance that out though.
Yeah.
The next heat was another quick one. It was Cam and Kaylee and Faith and Angela. Cam and Kaylee get thrown off pretty quick. So we haven't talked about this yet, but I don't understand these teams. Obviously, maybe they couldn't watch. I think that was the issue. They couldn't watch the other teams go.
That had to have been it.
Because
round 1, both teams made it past the first log, and they both did the same strategy of one walking backwards and one walking forwards.
And the other, every team that tried the side and side thing fell.
Every single team.
Yeah, that wasn't the way to do it.
And I think every team, how many did every team that went forward and backwards make it? I think only three or four.
What did Faith and Angela? I don't remember what they did. I know Brad and Kyle tried to go side to side, and they didn't make it.
Yeah, they fell right over.
Yeah,
looking like idiots. They didn't make it even. They didn't even make it that far,
which was disappointing considering they won the first.
Well, two. Nelly and Shane, they did make it to the bungees, didn't they?
Faith and Angela also made it to the bungees. They fell almost immediately, but I could give credit to them for getting there.
Yeah, and Nelly and Shane, was that the one that they were like shaking like
absolute crazy? Shane looked like he was having a seizure on that rope.
It was absolutely ridiculous. I thought that they were hitting like some turbulence, which doesn't even make sense being on a train, but like that's what it looked like. Yeah, it looked like that like one of the wheels of the train is derailed, which also doesn't make sense because they're in groups of 4. But like something was going wrong with the train is basically what I'm getting at because that's how much they were shaking.
Yeah, so we basically skimmed through all of those. None of those teams finished. So,
yep.
And then we get the last, which is weird. This can't be. This is how I know it. There's no way this could have been a random order because Zach and Amanda and Jocelyn and Sylvia both went together on the last one first, and they were the first team to go. Now this one, they're the last 2 teams to go. So,
ding, ding.
And it's not always something that people do if they have the order. They don't always put themselves last.
Yeah.
So I could see them putting, especially since Kyle is boys with Zach and Joss. So
could happen.
Even Zach was pointing out later on that Kyle was being wrong in that situation.
So basically,
both of these teams really good. They have their strategy on point on the first one, communicating well, balancing well, and Zach and Amanda finished. Joss and Sylvia finished shortly after them, which was nice to see from them because they've kind of been slumping a little bit.
They kind of have because they are a strong team.
If they live up to their potential that we think they have, then they are a really strong team.
Yes.
These two are the two best of the split gender teams for sure.
No competition.
And they could compete with that. I absolutely still think that they could compete with the male teams in like an elimination or
you
challenge.
think Joss and Sylvia can take on Brad and Kyle? Because those guys have been throwing down so hard. They're like their communication is on lock.
But I mean,
trying to take $500K away from that guy and his 2 kids. Is that what you're trying to do? We'll get to that, but oh my god, we'll get to that.
Zach slips in a comment about how he doesn't even get communication like this with people he likes. So Amanda being a very good partner to Zach.
Well, the best part about all of this was the double high, the high five across. That was glorious. The slow-mo high five.
But this is where these narratives are annoying. Zach obviously doesn't. He said he's like, I'm working so well with somebody I can't stand. It's so obvious that they stand each other just fine.
There was a confessional. I don't recall which episode again. It's all a blur. Of like Amanda standing in front of Zach and talking about how they're like working really well together.
They hugged and they've hugged multiple times.
Yeah, they're totally fine.
Yeah.
It's
and Amanda even saying that she was happy that Jenna is gone so Zach can focus on the game, which is absolutely true. It's selfish, but it's true.
Yeah. And so there you have it. And when they all got to, I guess not vote, but TJ got to tell them
Zach
the
and
results.
Amanda won.
There you go. Brian really jumping the gun there.
So far, only 2 teams have won challenges. Zach and Amanda and Brad and Kyle.
Yeah. There's only been like 3 challenges.
There's been 4. Well, there's been 4 challenges that have had a winner announced.
So are they 2 and 2?
2 and 2.
There's been 3 challenges. One of them was a dig up.
Zach and Amanda still won the dig up.
Nah, it's a dig up.
It's still a challenge that they won.
Nah, that was the least challengey challenge.
Okay,
ever.
but they still won it.
That, you know what that was? That was a glorified run into the the new house and then claim your bed. Like it was just everyone running down the mountain,
no.
dig and grab your friend.
The digging was very much a part of that, as we saw with Jen and Brittany failing in that.
It shouldn't have been a problem, but it just was a problem.
CT took them a while to find Veronica.
It really shouldn't have been a problem, but it was. You know what? I guess it was a challenge because it stumped it stumped like 3 teams. So it was a challenge. I take it back.
So Zach and Amanda win this challenge. Very impressive, as always. Amanda killing it.
Just say anything about that girl.
Carrying Zach through the challenge. No, just kidding.
And
then we get Cara and Kyle out on the balcony.
Suddenly
cuddling with each other and being friendly again.
Scene.
This is where she said that she wants to look up to the little kids, probably, right?
That she has little kids that look up to her.
Little
and when he does something like that, it damages that spot, which is exactly, she just played the game that Kyle's about to play in a few minutes about you're gonna do this and ruin that man's chance to give his kids money. That's exactly what it was. That you're gonna ruin my chance at making these little girls feel good. That's what she did.
She should have said that. She should have said that when he tried to put the grenade on her. He's these little kids are gonna be so mad that I'm that I'm being penalized.
Yeah, like that. I'm gonna fall and then I'm gonna look weak for these little kids that need to feel strong.
FYI too, if you're a young kid, I'll say about 13, 14 years old, that looks up to Cara Maria, please get a new role model immediately.
There's a few this isn't exactly the show to find role models.
No, it's not. If you're watching the show for a role model, please find another show. Yeah. But especially if Cara Maria is your role model.
Yeah, but there are other better options on the show. What about this episode wasn't a good example, or last episode, but what about CT? He's really calmed down. He's a good dad figure. He's playing for his kids. Tony's been a good role model the past couple years.
Okay, you lose me with all of these because CT spent 10 years as a raging cokehead.
I said you got to look at it now. These 14-year-olds, they aren't watching the archives.
But they're not. It's not a role model for young people. It's a role model for people that are in their mid 20s or early 30s to better yourselves.
Well, I'm saying, like,
if you're a shit person, better yourselves.
If you're like a subjective or like a kid that can, that is potentially looking for inspiration, usually you don't know. Usually you don't know, like, when it's actually happening to you, that you're being some impressionable kid. Like, usually you're not aware that it's happening. But if you just so happen to be in that situation, currently looking at the season status right now, like, Tony is a guy who's the past 2 years he's been fine. So, like, I'm looking at just this season.
I just think
you can look at, like, CT, besides the chair throwing. You can look at Tony. You could look at, let's see, who's a girl that they could look at. Maybe, like, maybe
Sylvia is actually
Sylvia.
not
You
bad.
could look at Sylvia for that. She's been loyal. She's never done anything bad in, like,
she had a good
seasons.
arc of, like, early on she was real, like, insecure and not confident in herself, and she was able to grow that confidence over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Sylvia is a great role model. Kids that are following Cara.
Nobody on the show is a great role model. But if you
Sylvia is a great challenge star role model.
Challenge.
Or if you're gonna watch the archives, follow Sarah Rice. She's a great gal.
Sarah's a good one too.
Who else is a good one? Not Nani.
Timmy Beggy. You don't know who that is.
I have no clue who the hell you're talking about.
There's very few actual, like, genuine nice, like, super nice people like that are also, like, someone that you could mold yourself after. Like, for example, Jenna sometimes is considered a role model. Don't look up to Jenna.
No, don't.
Just because Jenna is nice, like.
Yeah, she is a nice girl, but, like, no, there's a lot of other qualities that, like, that go into a role model.
Mm-hmm.
And those are maybe, like, standing up for yourself, like, is one. Like, she allows everyone to walk all over. People don't usually choose to walk all over because she's nice, but if it comes down to it, she's gonna let everyone run the train right over.
You got to stick up for yourself sometimes, man.
Yeah. She has other people fight her battles. I think that falls under the umbrella of stick up for yourself. But this is a long tangent about don't look up to Cara or really any of these people except Sylvia or Sarah Rice.
Exactly. Like, I certainly don't look up to her, man. I just have a giant crush on her.
Oh, I don't look up to any of these people.
Yeah.
Except for, maybe Tony a little.
It's not a looking up. We're at an age now where it's not looking up. It's more of, like, emphasizing with them.
Empathizing. Not with them. Empathizing. Not emphasizing.
Empathizing with them.
Yeah.
Relating to them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, being like, I'm not in Tony's position yet, but in, 5 years, could be. I hope not. I don't want 2 kids in 5 years and 2 different baby mamas. That hopefully not. But like, anything could have 5-10 years. You could be in a similar situation as Brad or Tony.
Well, Brad is an extreme example. He's had a several year long marriage that got divorced.
Absolutely, 10 years that could happen. 10 years, 2 kids, divorce. That could happen to some people. I'm sure there's probably people watching the challenge right now that are in Brad's situation. I'm sure they feel for that guy. And they know, and I'm sure they're pulling for him hard.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I mean, he's been a role model besides the whole, like, Britney relationship.
You haven't seen much Brad, but in his earlier seasons, he was one of the nice, like, the good guys.
Yeah, he is.
For most of his run. Like, I told you about that incident with Big Easy where he collapsed and basically cost the entire team the final.
Yeah.
I told you about that. Brad was, like, the only guy. There was, like, 10 people there. Brad was the only guy that I was actually, like, feeling bad for him and, like, saying, like, we need to slow down because this guy's gonna, like, pass out.
Mm-hmm.
He was the only guy that showed, like, genuine, like, care and support for
Big Easy.
Meanwhile, CT was, like, yelling at him. He's like, CT purposely went behind him. He's like, you're staying in front of me.
An asshole.
And, like, people like Kenny and Evelyn were being bitches to him.
Man, that sounds like a stacked season. What season is that?
Gauntlet 3. Well, it was just a stacked team.
Yeah.
They put all these motherfuckers on one team. It, like, totally.
How can any other team, like, face that? I mean, clearly the Big Easy bomb blew up. Yeah. It sounds like.
Well, they should have put him in an elimination earlier. That was the issue. Bananas tried to talk them into it, and they threw him in instead. Because he was still in his early days.
Right.
He hadn't established himself yet.
Gotcha. Poor Bananas.
Yeah.
All right. Onward.
Marie coming out and breaking up this conversation.
Oh, it's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. There were other takeaways, by the way. We got really held up on that car thing, but clearly the feelings are still here between these two, and
I can understand why other people in the house are being pissed off about it and annoyed by it.
Also,
because we're being annoyed by it as viewers.
Let's not take away from the fact that Kyle made a move. He he lunged in and it was when Marie showed up and Cara backed away.
Marie's like, Cara, what are you doing? Get off her lap. Get off his lap.
Yeah.
I like too. They're the only
hilarious.
3 people out there too. That's what made it great.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. This was on par with the Derrick lean-in of episode 1. Of her showing up. I laughed a good deal when she showed up.
And then this is when Kyle drops that great line in his interview about how he's an evil genius, because even he's got all these people like helping him, and then even the team that he makes moves against and does shit against still won't vote him in, and like he's so happy about that. He's got everyone in the palm of his hands.
Oh yeah. And
although that didn't work out for him.
It didn't, but when he said that, I realized like, holy shit. Like, this guy is literally winning at everything. He is running the game right now, the 2 point. It seems like he's the biggest puppet master currently. The people that don't like him are not like, one thing is to be afraid to vote them in, like how Bananas did that, where people were afraid to vote Bananas because of repercussions.
Yeah.
He had convinced the people that he's very directly like shitting all over. He had worked his way into like getting them onto his side, even though he's gonna continue shitting all over them. Like, I was like, man, this guy's a genius. This guy is perfect. A couple minutes later, that got completely diffused and backfired. But I will say, this one confessional prompted me to write a hot take, and I still have it, and I'm still going to use it. It just has a small asterisk next to it. So we will move into.
Finally, we get to some drama surrounding an actual decision that needs to be made in the game. Shane telling Zach that he thinks they should put in Faith and Angela because of how connected they are, and Zach's like reluctantly, like, he wants to put Jose and Devon in because that's an easy vote for them since they already auto sent them in the first one.
Yeah.
So it's, send them back. Easy vote for Zach. Zach says he doesn't trust Shane. Honestly, I feel like Shane has like this reputation of being like super like snaky and shady. Mm-hmm. But like, I've never actually seen him like really make like a cunning like backstabbing maneuver. He just has this reputation of being like so shady that like no one trusts him in the game.
It's funny is, correct me if I'm wrong, because I got a pretty bad memory when this stuff happens. I feel like every week of the past 3 years, it's been like, oh, I don't trust Shane.
Yeah,
so
like
cunning Derrick.
Like everyone always says that about him.
I feel like he never gets voted in because of it.
Well, what got him sent in on Vendettas? I can't even remember.
Oh, dude, don't ask me. Are you kidding me?
He was just probably low man on the totem pole, honestly. It was more than that than it was him being like untrustworthy.
Yeah. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Do you remember any times that Shane did get thrown in because of him being a drama queen and being snaky and untrustworthy?
I mean, unless you count last season, that being the main reason why. On Invasion, he was never thrown in for that.
And on Invasion, I'm sure every week they talked about Shane being snaky and untrustworthy.
It was because of this one thing with Nicole where he didn't necessarily like. He made a really smart decision for himself to look out for himself and keep himself out of the elimination. He didn't, but Nelson thought that Shane was like screwing him over because he got put in the elimination instead.
Right.
But all Shane did was go up to Nicole, who he hates now, which is actually funny though, but looking back at it, but he told Nicole, if you keep me safe, if you win the safety, you have to pick somebody to go in. Just don't choose me. And if I win, I won't choose you. Mm-hmm. So, and it was a very basic thing. He just didn't tell anybody he made that because why would you? That's stupid.
Why the hell? Yeah, exactly.
I don't see that as like him backstabbing anybody.
No.
But him backstabbing would be if he won and then put in like Nelson instead of like Dario or somebody.
Exactly.
That was there. Like somebody.
He's never been sneaky like that. He's sneaky in the drama. He's sneaky
in the drama in that he gets himself involved in a lot of drama, but he's generally been pretty loyal in terms of the way he votes.
I mean, he's going to get himself in some more drama at the end by the end of this
episode.
And
I did think it was a good play by him to go up to Jose and Devon and try to tell them that he was
upset that they chose.
Well, no, he went up to them and said, "I looked out for you guys. I tried to tell Zach not to put you guys in, so I'm somebody that you can potentially trust." Now, Jose and Davon are actually, I have to give them credit, they're actually smart players and they see through them. Because Shane definitely isn't actually trying to build an alliance with them. He's just trying to like grab somebody for like a couple votes for a week.
Yeah.
Trying to rally numbers, basically. He's not looking for an alliance with them.
Mm-mm.
So they saw through it, which I give them credit for. That's something that BB players are good at. I think this team is definitely smarter than Natalie and Pauly.
They're one of the smartest teams on here.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what team? Tony and Bananas?
No,
Like,
I think Zach and Amanda is a really smart team, but they just haven't had to showcase it at all in anything.
I'm talking about smart in politics, not
Smart
like
in politics?
in politicking and playing the game. Not like, are you going to be good at the trivia challenge? You know,
I honestly have no idea. The vote is so unique this season. Like, and this is only the second time in 6 episodes we've even seen it, so it's hard to really gauge who's like the best at it. And honestly, after you vote, immediately telling people who you voted for is probably not the best idea.
Yeah, this was dumb that they just started to play like this ledger book game and writing down what everybody wrote.
They're definitely leaving this a cliffhanger. They only showed a handful of the votes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of teams said that they were burning their votes, so I'm worried someone's going to get screwed next week in this.
Well, it doesn't sound like it sounds like this burn vote idea is going to screw somebody eventually. But I think Angela and Faith are going in this week. Because
they didn't get the double vote.
They didn't?
No, Zach and Amanda voted Jose and Devon in.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so they didn't get that.
Oopsie. Uh-oh.
So
did anyone else vote Jose and Devon?
No, I don't think so.
Well, then I don't think it's going to be
I don't think anyone's coming after them.
Maybe after the cliffhanger.
Yeah. Because like people understand. I'm glad that it's not a Bananas running the show game right now. Like Bananas had a very little part in this whole thing.
He's been taking a back seat this whole season so far, and unlike Vendettas, where he was running the game for a good deal of it.
That's what's great about this voting system is everyone has a say and everyone can influence it, including a team like Jose and Devon.
Oh yeah, and it's been awesome like that. I just wish that the game or the episodes weren't moving in slow motion.
Yeah.
Because what's our running tally right now after 6 episodes? 4 challenges, 2
eliminations.
My God.
If you count the redemption as an elimination, which I mean, basically there were 6. If you want to put it this way, 6 competitions, 1 competition in each episode.
Okay, there's been 6 competitions. All right, so you get 1 for each episode. That's all right, but I don't know. It used to be 2. It used to be like 1 3/4 every episode.
The teaser for next week said 2 eliminations, so maybe that's like a fast forward week.
Yes,
and
that's what I'm hoping that they're going to kind of, exactly, because they were going to have to move this along anyway, because at the pace that they've been at, we're looking at like a 30 episode season. So, yeah, I assume there's going to be a fast forward, and it looks like we're getting it next week with the elimination that's going to play out from the end of this episode, and then a mercenary week. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves on that. We were very vague. We still need to talk about Kyle and Cara's incident and Shane and Davon's incident. We were kind of touching the Davon stuff. Let's go to that first.
Cara Marie first.
Let's go to the
Davon thing was at the end. I'm trying to keep it chronologically here.
But we were talking about it like nonstop.
I know, but we'll get to it.
All right, fine. Chronological.
Cara votes in Kyle and Brad.
Sure does.
Just to get back at them. She doesn't even know if they have the votes to go, and she just wants to be petty and get her revenge, which is perfectly fine. She can vote for whatever team she wants.
She 100% justified. Yes. She had just been screwed over by them.
The problem is, don't tell people this. You can lie. People aren't going to find out unless they're the team that gets picked. No one's going to know it was you. If the beams light up and they don't have your thing on it, that's like wait till that point.
Yeah, please. Like, that was so ridiculous that she just blurted it out. Yeah, I voted Kyle and Brad. Like, are you kidding me?
You pissed Tori
off. Dumb. That was dumb that she did that. But I will 100% back her vote. Like, she absolutely had the right to do that.
But, like, it's much better if you don't say who it is, and then when they do the big reveal, if it ends up being Faith and Angela, and then you look, he's like, Cara Marie, you didn't vote for them. So not only are you scotch-free here, because they can't call you out, but you also, like, basically... Well, that's basically all that happened. But they would find out at that point. But I'm saying is, don't tell them now.
No, there's no
after the vote.
There's no reason to tell anybody who you voted for until those lights light.
This is a problem that happens on Big Brother a lot too. It's like then a problem. Just spill the beans on their.
Well, here's something. If someone like walks up to you and is like, all right, we're getting a tally, who'd you vote for? If you say I'm not telling because until those lights light up, you look like a shady bitch, and then you're gonna start thinking like, oh, this person's hiding shit. They're making big moves. What are they doing? Like it can blow up on you.
It's a good counter argument, but like I mean, it's a secret vote for a reason, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It should stay secret. And these people that are trying to figure it all out are causing a lot of unintended ripple effects, like ruining the fact that it's a secret. That people that try to stay true to the game's idea of it being a secret vote now look like mysterious bad guys.
Also, like it's going to create more friction between teams. That's only could potentially blow yourself up to where you make yourself an easy target to get called out by the team with the most votes.
Yeah.
So Kyle finds out that Marie voted for him, and this is where we get Kyle just being a dick and Brad being a dick. See, I understandable if you want to be upset, but don't immediately jump to Brad's here for his kids, and you're going to ruin his chance at $500,000.
This is the first time I've disliked Kyle in his entire challenge.
This was worse than Tony when he talks about his kids.
This was so stupid.
Because Tony's never outright. I think he actually did once on Invasion, but he never went this far.
How blatantly, like, wrong can you be, Kyle? You just voted or took away the ability for this girl to compete in a challenge. You made her cry like a couple episodes ago. Last time he won, he's been doing crude things. Or didn't he vote her in? Did they do anything?
They didn't vote her in.
He was doing a bunch of bullshit there.
He voted out Paulie.
Yeah. He was doing, a bunch of BS that was all related to her in some way. And then all she does is throw pretty much a burn vote on you. Like, in a sense.
It was a revenge vote.
Yeah, it was a revenge burn vote, but it was a burn vote nonetheless. And you lose your fucking cool over that shit, and you're going in on her about how stupid and wrong she is after hours before, potentially. He
was cuddling up with her.
Well, the night before you were. That's not the matter. That would mean the day before you just took away her ability to win a challenge.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be mad that she took a burn vote on you. Yep. And then because you realize you don't have an argument, you're gonna make it about your partner.
Exactly. That's the ridiculous part.
And the vote was not about Brad at all.
And Brad's going along with it. Like, come on,
Brad is freaking out
You're better
too.
than that.
Like, I don't think your stupid kids, Brad, were even on Cara's fucking mind. I don't think they fucking crossed her mind one time when they were making that vote.
The point is that no one is entitled to the money more than other people. You all
absolutely
want the money. Everyone's there. Nobody should bend over backwards for another person because they need the money more.
Absolutely. That's like when you're at a job and you don't want to get a raise because you're a younger kid and you think like, oh, I don't need it right now. I'm just a kid going through college, and I don't know. I live with my parents. Down a raise, though? I live with my parents, so I don't need to ask for more money. Like I'll stick with like this minimum wage or a couple dollars over. I'm content with that. I don't need to ask for more money. Like, hey man, you've been there for a year. Nothing's wrong with asking your boss for a raise. Mm-hmm. And I've seen that at the job that I worked at with for 3 years. I had a friend who still hasn't asked for a raise. He's 4 years in. He's never asked for a raise because he's a nice guy and doesn't think that he needs the money right now because he's just going through college and he makes enough. Like, there's nothing wrong with ever asking for a raise. Because, you know what? If you do your job well and you get it and you're doing good work, there's nothing wrong with it, and they're probably going to give it to you. And that's one of those things that's like entitlement of, like how Brad seems to think that he's more entitled to this money, or Kyle, like that group seems to think that they're more entitled. Everyone is equally entitled. It also goes, another thing with work is like, like another young guy. I've been in this situation in the work that I'm currently in, that the work has been being distributed to when we're low on work, and some guys are going to have to get days off. We give the day's work to the guys that have families and have kids. It's like, I don't care if I'm 22 and live at my parents' house. I'm going fucking broke here. I need to work.
Yeah.
Like I need a job. I worked 0 hours last week because we were slow on work, and we gave it to some dudes that have families, the minimum amount that we had. I don't give a damn. I'm the longest tenured employee at this company. I'm working, but and that's just the way it is. You can't feel entitled like that. My bosses are feeling that they got families, they need to work more than this 22-year-old.
It's just like, what is
it's all equal.
What is the idea here? Like, were you gonna say this to anybody who threw? Like, eventually a team was gonna throw you guys in. So were you gonna immediately like, oh, I'm here for like Tony never even did
someone's gonna be like, like all of a sudden Marie's gonna be like, well, or let's say Sylvia's gonna be like, well, I need the money, my mom's sick or something. Like,
Amanda's dad is sick.
Exactly. Like, there you go. Like, what makes that any better than your two kids? What does Bananas want? Like, Bananas and Tony. Tony's got 2 kids. Bananas doing whatever he wants to do. What makes them more entitled or less entitled than Brad and his kids?
And it's always the guys who do this too. What about Davon? She isn't going off about how she needs the money for her kid.
No, she's not saying it. I mean, Faith's a vet. She served our country, and she's not saying like, I served our country.
Faith served our country for 6 years, entitled to more money than all these other people, clearly.
Well, as we just said, no one's more entitled.
I'm being sarcastic.
And, like, it's just an absolute bullshit argument. And they're completely wrong. And I have never been on Cara's side more, ever.
Yes, me too.
Ever. This is incredible how much I'm in Cara's side.
Even Zach was like, fuck you, Kyle.
Over Kyle, too, a guy I freaking love. And, I mean, like, besides this moment, how could you not love Kyle? He's given everyone no reason to not like this guy. He's been awesome. But this specifically has been just so wrong. And it's really bothersome that some guy that I really thought had his head screwed on straight is blowing up like this. This is an absolute Bananas blow-up spot.
It really is, yeah. It's a banana thing to do. He's
really like the mini Bananas. And it's coming a lot quicker than Bananas came into power.
Mm-hmm.
It's really happening. And it's getting to his head now. He's controlling the game, and this is the first time something ever went wrong for him.
We did talk about pre-podcast.
And he freaking blew up.
The first time he's ever been challenged in anything in this game.
And he collapsed. He just fell in on himself.
And he threw out a bullshit excuse. So, moving on. The last part of the show, which is Shane and Davon. What exactly did they argument even start?
I don't know how it started.
Davon said...
they didn't. I don't know how. I know what started. It was the different vote.
Shane found out that they didn't vote in for Faith and Andrew. So who did they vote for?
I can't remember. They might have thrown that like Nelly.
No, they didn't vote. That would also be Shane.
Oh yeah.
I think they might have voted for Tori and Derrick or somebody.
Yeah, anyway,
they don't vote the way Shane wanted them to vote, and Shane wasn't happy about it because he said, "I stuck my neck out to try to help you guys," which he didn't. He kind of did, not really. They saw through him.
He extended it slightly out of the turtleneck.
And then this argument, I love this argument. I like an argument where I'm not on either person's side. Mm-hmm. I like both people involved, so I just enjoyed this argument. And like when he called her, he said, "You don't have to be freaking out like a bitch." I said something about her being a bitch, and then he said, "Bitch, you just call me a bitch?" And he's like, "Yeah, you mean like bitch?" And then she got really upset at that point.
I mean, this entire argument was just like, "You bitch, no, you."
There are some girls though that not every girl is like that, but there are girls who will get more upset than others at that type of language. So Shane sometimes can go over the line, and where he feels like he's not being as like rude as he actually is. I feel like
right.
And, like, there are girls who don't like being called a bitch, especially by somebody who doesn't like them.
Yeah, it's some people take words more seriously than others.
And Davon is a little sensitive to these type of things. I saw it a lot on Big Brother. Mm-hmm. She's mentally, like, she's smart and, like, strategic, but she's not very strong mentally. Like, she can break down easily, I think. That's what I got that was what her downfall was on Big Brother twice.
Yeah, and I think this is the beginning of the downfall. I think that this is going to have some repercussions that in the next coming episodes.
Because as you can see in this fight, this is very similar to the fight she had with Pauly on Big Brother, where even if Pauly was necessarily like more in the wrong in the situation. Paulie was very calm and relaxed, and Davon was the one jumping and kicking and screaming, which is kind of what this was too. Shane was like a big smile on his face. By the way, Bananas having to be involved in every single fight
Both
ever
these
on the
fights,
show.
he was in it.
Yeah, he was in the background of everything.
It's classic Bananas.
How big is this?
It's just his gimmick.
This house is huge. How does he always end up?
Just gimmick.
Every corner.
You can hear the screaming. Come on.
True.
It's his gimmick. He knows that he has to be there for the camera time. He knows.
Even
what to do.
Tony pulling up a seat next to him, making facial expressions in the background.
Yeah, they're both fake eating popcorn behind the bush. That was good. They're behind the bush watching that fight of Cara and.
Yeah, they were like off to the side next to the pool.
Yeah, that was funny. But that'll do it for the episode. Yeah, unless you have another talking.
No, I will do it for the episode.
That'll do it, and that is a double review. We spent 98% of this on episode 6.
This was easily
because episode 5 was a snoozer.
Easily the best episode of the season, in my opinion, because it actually put together. It didn't have an elimination, but it generally put together most of the components.
Yeah, for an episode that didn't have like an elimination, it was pretty good.
The structure of it was good. They had all the house drama stuff in the very beginning, then they had the challenge, then they had drama surrounding the vote and what was going down at the end. Yeah. Didn't get to the elimination. Didn't show too much of the Redemption House. Like, this was perfectly fine for this, because if the way they're going to do it now, where you just
I will say this was a very good episode, and everything was highly entertaining. But these past 2 episodes have been a perfect example of the season moving in slow motion.
I just wish like
with how many segments they have between challenge and elimination. I mean, like you saw how many segments were in this episode, and how many of them were a challenge and elimination. Like one of I don't know 8 segments.
The challenge took up about a third of the episode. It was like the middle 20 minutes it took up.
Yeah, was it even 20 minutes?
Yeah, it was.
I think it was shy of it.
Maybe a little bit less. That was because a lot of teams fell pretty quick. It didn't.
Yeah. I think it was shy, probably around like 16, 17.
Yeah. So you want to move to the sauna?
I think we're already in there, man.
We are fully in there. Over an hour now without the AC being on up here.
Yeah, we're definitely in the sauna. My hands have been getting sweaty. So I'll start us off first with one that I definitely been talking about, and it's not even, I don't know, it's got a little bit of spice to it. This is the one that I wrote before Kyle looked like an idiot. By the end of Final Reckoning, Kyle will be at JEK levels of controlling the game.
Yep.
JEK being Johnny,
Evan, Kenny.
There you go.
He needs a crew though. Can't just do it by himself.
No, but I think that's what it's like. It's
well, I mean, him and
guy.
Brad are a team, so that helps.
Well, I'm saying by the end of Final Reckoning, not as in. I'm just saying like in tenured time that he's gonna be at that level. Not that he has Brad with him. I'm saying like even going into next season, he's gonna be at that like level. Like because you need to grow into that level. It's taken him a season and a half to grow to this point. I'm saying pretty much in a half season's more. Okay, this is more than like a season and a quarter. He has grown to this time. In a 3/4 more of a season, he is going to be at JEK levels. Like he is near peak of like his manipulation, and I don't see it currently. This has been this little crumble that he did has been the only sign of weakness in Kyle ever, and except for ladies, he does have a weakness to ladies. But I think that he's gonna be hitting that level, and I wonder how it's gonna fall. But I think that's gonna be over the next year or two. Maybe her fall in 2019, maybe her fall in 2020. But he's gonna be running the game.
Nice, good one. That completely counterbalances, or maybe not, with the one I had, which was Kyle and Brad are not gonna win another challenge for the rest of the season.
Interesting. Considering, as I said, they've won 50% of the challenges.
But they're still going to be a very powerful team in the game.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do it through winning challenges.
That can definitely happen.
Yeah.
But what makes you decide that they're not going to win? I don't know.
I feel like they peaked super early, and then like a lot of the challenges from here on out are going to be like weird, more like wonky shit, because we haven't really got almost everything.
Were you saying like because no eating challenge,
no trivia, no puzzles, none of that.
Right, the wonky stuff.
This is the kind of stuff that Brad is made for, challenges that we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
and he's been great. He may have been the best performing guy so far, but yeah, eventually. And next challenge looks like really weird. It's like
Well, he's definitely not the best performing guy so far because him and Kyle just flopped on this challenge.
Well, I mean, who would you say is ahead of him? Zach. All right, that's fair.
Only because
Zach did fall though on that one challenge, and Amanda did finish it when he couldn't do it. Although that just means they're a strong team.
Well, yeah, I guess both of them did have one flop, so I guess I put them equal.
All right, that's fair.
Equal so far.
But I don't think they're going to win another challenge, like another mission.
I mean, you bring up a good point with none of the wonky stuff has happened yet.
Yeah.
So, what if there's a swimming challenge?
I don't. They're probably good at swimming.
I know Kyle is, right?
Kyle is supposedly a really good swimmer, and Brad is. I'm sure he's fine. So.
Because he's just good.
Yeah, he's just one of. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, let's see what I got here. Ooh. I'm going to use this one as the bombshell.
Okay.
So
that is a good one. I like
yeah,
that.
so I'll move into this take that I got right here. Due to the speeds that production has been dishing out these seasons, the season pace, I should say, and how I've been talking that it's been moving in slow motion for this season and parts of last season, most of last season, I would say. I'm going to issue in that very soon production is going to start actually airing episodes in 90% speed. That the seasons will not only feel slower, but literally be slower. Because they got to get their money's worth.
They do. So
that's all I got there. There's nothing to back up that claim.
I originally had made a claim that I think Amanda has the chance to be the best performing female on this season.
Mm-hmm. And
you did say that, to be fair, in this challenge, Marie and Cara both did very well.
Yes.
For the position that they were in. So I'll say something else. Faith, with the exception of Amanda, because no one would be above her, but Faith has been my second favorite person on this show. Just all around. All around. Yeah, I think she's hilarious. I think she's really hot. Yeah, I like the way she carries herself in all these situations that she's been in. I think she's a strong competitor, and I think she's been a great addition to the show.
I think she has been a great addition to the show.
You like Angela too.
I like them together as a unit. I like Faith, and I like them as a unit. I do the low point of it's like Faith, Angela, group. Like the order of liking them would be Faith 1, Group 2, Angela like way down there. Like I don't like her that much.
Angela's not bad.
She's all right. I like her way more than I thought I was gonna like her.
She's pretty funny in her interviews too. It's just a lot of the yelling and stuff. Although she's toned it down a lot. Mm-hmm. X on the Beach, she was literally getting in a fight every episode and freaking out over something.
Yeah, I didn't watch X on the Beach, but from what I had heard from you, I had not seen this season.
But then again, like Paulie on X on the Beach was like a ghost. Nothing. He didn't. Yeah.
And meanwhile, as I've said, that Paulie's been my favorite on this season.
Exactly.
So far.
So you see the difference in behaviors. I mean, a lot of that is playing up for cameras too, which Angela definitely does to some extent. The pillow incident was a great example of that. By the way, Sylvia with the fantastic pillow catch when she was reading the clip.
Wasn't that great?
Oh, you know what? Your hot take about Sylvia.
What did I say?
That you said during the episode.
What was that?
You said that you think she's the best looking girl that you've seen on the show that has not hooked up with somebody on camera.
Well, I mean, that's taken a little out of context. I wasn't judging it like that.
You were just saying like...
I was saying like a girl like her, like a girl like
up.
her has been, or like not many girls on the show ever have been completely like clean through their career. Or, like on the challenge, or like not do like anything.
Not even like kissing or like nothing.
Yeah, and I said of the girls that have done that.
Yeah.
To my memory of someone who's only watched like 10 seasons, she's probably the most attractive of any of them, or even really one that's the only people that haven't done that have been like kicked out like on their first season, like 2 episodes in.
Yeah, it is surprising how many.
Like everyone,
you really have nothing to do on this show.
Anyone who's been on for like 3 seasons has at least like kissed.
Amanda did in her first 3 seasons. This is her first time.
True.
She's losing her challenge hookup virginity with Joss here.
So yeah, it was just more over that like you would think someone who's been on the show that much. No one who's ever been on the show like as much as Sylvia has
which isn't even that much, but
Yeah, but like anyone who's been on the show as much as Sylvia or more has hooked up or done something.
yeah, and she hasn't.
For a girl, I should say. I mean, even seems like most guys have too that have been on the show that long.
Don't try to make this a sexist thing. That's not what we're trying to do, but just a point.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just something that I was
it's just
pointing
a point
out.
that these people are very sexual people, and there's not a lot going on in that house, and you're gonna hook up.
I think the point is, I think the point is more there's nothing going on in the house, not that they're sexual people or anything. There's literally nothing to do, and I think it's just interesting. I think it's another reason why I like Sylvia a lot, because she's just really different than like everybody else. She gives like a whole different vibe.
But
to the
she
show.
does have a really big mean streak, which was on a Real World season a lot. It just hasn't come out on the challenge yet.
But
I do want to see.
You see the fire from her every once in a while. That elimination against Melissa, you saw the fire.
Her yelling at Nicole in the invasion when she turned on her.
She's got it in her, and that's what I kind of like about her. She's like she keeps it quiet, but then she like lets it blow up.
I'll throw it over. I say they win the next challenge. Sylvia and Joss.
I think they're due.
They're due for a win.
Is that all for your takes?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. But then I think we got to end this baby on a bombshell because it's been a pretty long episode. And I got a hot one for you. And it's a good one. Derrick and Tori will fall, trip, and fail their way to the last eliminated position before the finals.
I bet, and preface that, this is not what you were saying, but that I assume that will probably be a purge situation as well.
Probably. But like
that's usually how they make out the final teams.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I was judging it moreover on the screen time they're getting for how bad they are.
Yeah.
Or like how bad Derrick is. That I don't see the gag ending yet. I don't see like an end to the storyline of Derrick's bad yet. And maybe next episode all of a sudden they start hinting the end of that storyline. But it just seems like a gag that's gonna go all season, and it's gonna go right up until there's no more eliminations. It's just gonna be.
But eventually, a team's gonna call them out.
Will they though? Because they don't matter. The team doesn't matter. What if that team goes to the finals? They're not gonna do anything. Derrick's just gonna blow up.
Yeah, but
will it ever matter?
A team's eventually gonna go there, and it's gonna be like two teams voted them, and they're gonna look, and it's gonna be like Bananas and Tony or Tori and Derrick, and you're obviously going to take Tori and Derrick.
All right, that's
what I'm trying to say. Eventually, there's going to be a situation like that, or they're going to get burn voted